I knew I was gonna meet him when I was coming to the game, and that's like one of my idols, like the GOAT to me. So he's my favorite player of all time.
Your dream come true. You've made so many dreams come true. State Farm knew it had been some time since you'd seen, and like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Caitlin Clark just dropped her list of 6 all-time favorite basketball players, and let's just say some of her picks are exactly what you'd expect, but a few will leave you completely stunned. One name in particular had fans everywhere doing a double take, because out of all the legends she could have mentioned, she chose someone most people haven't thought about in years. Yet for Caitlin, this player was everything. She had his gear, watched his every move, and modeled her own game after his style. But before we get to that surprise pick, let's start with the one who inspired it all. The player Caitlin Clark once called her hero. The woman she dreamed of becoming. Maya Moore wasn't just great, she was a force of nature. 4 national championships at UConn, 4 WNBA titles with the Minnesota Lynx, 2 Olympic gold medals. She could score, defend, lead, and dominate in every possible way. For a young Caitlin Clark growing up in Iowa, Maya Moore wasn't just a role model, she was the blueprint. Anytime someone asked who her favorite player was, Caitlin didn't even have to think. Her answer was always the same: Maya Moore.
I know Maya Moore is your favorite player. In a game to 11 against prime Maya Moore, how many points?
11-0, Maya Moore, for sure.
You're not scoring 1 bucket.
I'm not scoring. She's blocking me.
Think about that for a second. Caitlin Clark didn't just look up to Maya Moore for her jump shot or highlight reels. She admired everything about how Maya approached the game. Moore embodied the perfect blend of skill, leadership, and heart. She was selfless, brilliant under pressure, and always made everyone around her better. When the lights were brightest, she delivered. And that's exactly the kind of player Clark set out to be. In countless interviews, Clark has talked about how she idolized the greats growing up. And right at the top of that list was Maya Moore. She watched Maya dominate at UConn, then seamlessly carry that greatness into the WNBA with the Minnesota Lynx. For Moore, winning wasn't just a goal, it was second nature. But here's the part that'll hit you right in the emotions. March 2024, senior night at Iowa, Caitlin Clark's final game at Carver Hawkeye Arena. The place is electric, fans are roaring, celebrating every moment of her incredible journey. Then suddenly, the crowd erupts even louder as Maya Moore herself walks onto the court. Clark's jaw drops. She had no idea. It was the ultimate surprise. When they hugged, you could see it. Years of admiration, inspiration, and respect all coming full circle in one unforgettable moment.
State Farm knew it had been some time since you'd seen Maya, and like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Maya Moore is there.
Oh my gosh.
That moment said it all. Maya Moore's influence ran deep. Just a month later, Caitlin Clark appeared on Saturday Night Live, and during the Weekend Update segment, she took a powerful moment to honor the women who made her journey possible. She named 5 trailblazing black athletes: Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, Dawn Staley, and of course her idol Maya Moore. Clark knew exactly what she was doing. She understood that these women built the WNBA brick by brick when almost no one was watching. They played for small crowds, small paychecks, and pure love of the game. And now, Clark stood on the foundation they created, something she never took for granted. So what exactly did Caitlin take from Maya Moore's game? The total package. Moore wasn't just a scorer. She was 6 feet tall with guard-like agility and the strength of a forward. She could back down smaller players, shoot over bigger ones, and shred defenses with her handles. Clark modeled her own game in that same complete way. Yes, everyone raves about Clark's shooting, but if you watch closely, she does so much more. She averages over 8 assists per game in the WNBA, crashes the boards, and competes on defense, just like Maya once did. That's no coincidence. That's the Maya Moore blueprint in action. But Maya wasn't the only one shaping Clark's game. There's another name that every basketball fan associates with her. The man who revolutionized modern basketball with his range, Stephen Curry. It's easy to see why the comparisons never stop. Both shoot from distances that make coaches wince. Both have lightning fast releases. Both can single-handedly change the outcome of a game. And Clark has always been open about her admiration for him. She grew up glued to the screen, watching Steph redefine the limits of what a shooter could be. Curry proved that you didn't have to be 6'8" to dominate the game. You could be a 6'3" guard, pull up from the logo and make it look effortless. Before Steph, a 30-foot shot was a bad decision. After Steph, it became basketball's most electrifying moment. Caitlin Clark absorbed that energy completely. Her range now feels infinite. If defenders don't guard her by half court, they're already too late. She's drilled shots from the tunnel, from the opposite three-point line, from angles that defy logic. That's pure Curry DNA, the confidence to shoot from anywhere and the skill to back it up. But here's where things get really interesting. Steph Curry himself has spoken about those comparisons, and while he respects Clark immensely, he's not exactly a fan of being directly compared to her, but not for the reason you might think. In an interview with CBS Mornings, Steph Curry said something that really stood out. He thinks the constant comparisons to him actually take away from Caitlin Clark's full greatness. Curry explained that people get so caught up in her shooting that they overlook the rest of her game. She's not just a scorer, she's nearly averaging triple-doubles, commanding the floor like a true general, and throwing some of the best passes you'll see in the league. In Curry's own words, fans need to stop limiting her to just shooting. She's doing everything at an elite level, and coming from the guy who changed the entire way basketball is played, that's about as high as praise gets. But Steph's right, Clark is far more than her jumper. Still, there's no denying his influence. That quick, effortless step-back three, straight out of the Curry playbook, the way she creates space with her dribble and then launches before defenders can react, pure Steph. Even her swagger, the little celebrations after hitting a ridiculous shot, carries that same Curry energy. Earlier this year, there were even rumors about Clark joining a special all-star three-point contest featuring Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Sabrina Ionescu. That lineup would have been legendary. Unfortunately, Clark's reps later confirmed she wouldn't be participating, most likely because she needed a break after a long rookie season. But the fact that she was even mentioned in that conversation says everything about how much respect she's earned, not just from WNBA stars, but from the NBA's biggest names too. Speaking of NBA legends, Clark has said herself that LeBron James is the greatest of all time. But when it comes to pure shooting inspiration, it's Steph Curry all the way. She watched him torch defenses for years, mastering every trick, relocating for open looks, hitting off the dribble bombs, and stretching defenses until they broke. Curry showed that you didn't have to be 6'8" to dominate. You could be a 6'3" guard who changed the entire geometry of the game. Before Curry, a 30-foot shot was reckless. After Curry, it became a weapon. Clark saw that and thought, why not me? And now, she's doing it, effortlessly pulling up from half court and beyond, forcing defenders to guard her the second she crosses the line. That's the Curry effect in full display. But now comes the real curveball. The next name on Clark's list. Nobody saw this one coming. Jimmer Fredette. Yes, that Jimmer, the BYU legend who turned college basketball into a fireworks show for 2 unforgettable seasons before fading from the NBA spotlight. And for young Caitlin Clark, Jimmer wasn't just a player. He was an obsession. It's 2011. Fredette is lighting up college hoops, averaging nearly 30 points a game, launching threes from every possible angle, and carrying BYU to the Sweet 16. He wins National Player of the Year, packs arenas everywhere he goes, and even inspires a viral hit. The Teach Me How to Jimmer, a remix of Teach Me How to Dougie. And somewhere in Iowa, a 9-year-old Caitlin Clark is glued to her TV. Every BYU game, every highlight, every shot, she's watching it all. She studies Jimmer's step backs, his forward-leaning jumper, and his fearless range. And she doesn't stop there. She buys the merch. Clark literally owned a Teach Me How to Jimmer t-shirt. That's how deep it ran. Fast forward to 2024, ESPN Plus drops an episode of Sue Bird's show, Sue's Places, filmed at Iowa's Carver Hawkeye Arena. And who walks in? Jimmer Fredette himself. Clark tells Sue and Jimmer everything. How she and her cousins used to watch him religiously. How she could still recall his NCAA tournament run play by play. How his confidence inspired her as a kid. Jimmer's clearly loving it. I mean, who wouldn't? One of the greatest women's basketball players ever just told him she modeled part of her game after his. Then they decide to settle it the fun way, now with a 3-point contest. Sue Bird even makes it interesting by using a giant cutout of her own face to mark shooting spots. Both Clark and Jimmer nail their first 2 shots, so Bird moves the line out of bounds. Clark goes first, steps up, launches, and drains it. Fredette steps up for his final shot and bricks it off the rim. Then Sue Bird ups the challenge. The next shot has to come from the bleachers. Clark goes first and barely misses. Fredette just laughs, waves it off, and decides not to even take his attempt, handing Caitlin the 3-2 win. And Clark, she goes full savage. With that signature grin, she looks at Jimmer and Sue and says, "It's been fun hanging out with the two people who basically invented the three-point shot." The trash talk was legendary. She beat her childhood hero and then roasted him right after. That's peak Caitlin Clark energy. But here's the question. Why does Jimmer Fredette even make this list? Right next to icons like Maya Moore and Steph Curry. Because Jimmer taught Clark something that went far beyond stats or fame. He showed her that you have to be an NBA superstar to make an impact. Back when Clark was just a kid, Fredette was doing what no one else dared, turning college basketball into must-see entertainment. He proved that confidence, creativity, and fearless shooting could capture the world's attention. He made it fun, and Caitlin absorbed that lesson completely. She's even said she's not exactly sure where her step-back three originated, and it came from years of watching every kind of basketball imaginable. But Jimmer is one of the few players she always mentions. That signature forward-moving release Fredette used? Clark still uses it today. When she launches from deep, she's not standing still. She's flowing into the shot, using her momentum to create power. That's straight out of the Jimmer Fredette manual. And sure, Jimmer's NBA career didn't go the way fans expected. He averaged just 7.6 points as a rookie with Sacramento and eventually took his talents overseas, later joining Team USA's 3x3 basketball squad. But honestly, that doesn't change a thing. His college run lit a spark in a 9-year-old girl from Iowa. A girl who'd grow up to make logo threes look effortless. That's real influence. That's legacy. The Jimmer Fredette connection might be the most surprising part of Caitlin Clark's basketball story, but it's also one of the most meaningful. It proves she didn't just learn from the biggest names in the game. She learned from anyone who played with passion, confidence, and joy. And that brings us to the next name on her list. Someone who shaped not just her game, but her mindset, the king himself, LeBron James. In Caitlin Clark's eyes, the undisputed GOAT, and she's never been shy about saying it.
I knew I was going to meet him when I was coming to the game, and that's like one of my idols. Like, LeBron is the GOAT to me, so I don't know, it was just like a crazy moment where I got to meet him in the back, and then for him to go out of his way and like wish me luck on the season. And he really does follow the WNBA, and he watches and he loves and appreciates basketball, and he loves and appreciates the way the Fever and my teammates play. And I mean, it's just really cool. I saw that. I didn't see it before the game, but obviously a lot of people had sent it to me after the game, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I thought it was kind of fake at first, but he's my favorite player of all time. I mean, you never know in today's world, I guess. I didn't know. I was like, wait, is this actually LeBron James? I knew the picture was real because I knew that was me, but yeah, it was pretty incredible. Like, I mean,
Not Michael Jordan, not Kobe Bryant. For Caitlin Clark, the greatest of all time has always been LeBron James. And when you watch how she plays, it's easy to understand why. LeBron isn't defined by just his scoring, even though, yes, he's now the NBA's all-time leading scorer with over 40,000 points. What truly separates him is everything else. His vision, his leadership, and his ability to completely control a game without even needing to score. At 6'9" and 250 pounds, LeBron plays with the mind and precision of a point guard. He sees plays before they happen, makes teammates better, and orchestrates the entire offense like a conductor leading a symphony. Sound familiar? That's exactly how Caitlin Clark approaches basketball. Sure, she can drop 40 points any night she wants, but her real superpower is her playmaking. In her rookie WNBA season, she broke the all-time single-season assist record, averaged over 8 assists a game, and became the first rookie ever to record a triple-double. That's not just elite scoring, that's LeBron-level floor control. Clark has said she grew up watching LeBron, and you can see his fingerprints all over her style. Like him, she always makes the right play, even when it's not the highlight reel option. LeBron's the type to pass up an easy layup if it means setting up a wide open three for a teammate. Clark does the same thing. She'll drive into traffic, draw 3 defenders, and then fire a pinpoint pass to the corner for a clean look. That's winning basketball. That's LeBron basketball. And here's the part that gives you chills. The respect goes both ways. LeBron actually watches Caitlin Clark. He's tweeted about her. He's praised her game publicly. Before one of her matchups, fans even sent Clark screenshots of LeBron's post hyping her and the Fever up. Her reaction, that's one of my idols. LeBron is the GOAT to me. He really follows the WNBA. He watches, he appreciates the game, and he respects how we play. That mutual admiration says everything. Clark grew up watching LeBron dominate the NBA, and now LeBron's watching her take over the WNBA. Both of them carried impossible expectations from the moment they arrived. LeBron had the chosen one tattooed across his back in high school. Clark had millions tuning in to see if she could live up to the hype every time she stepped on the floor. Both did more than handle it. They thrived. What Caitlin took from LeBron was the complete game mentality. LeBron never wanted to be known as just a scorer. He wanted to be the most complete player in basketball. Someone who could do everything at the highest level. Clark has embraced that same mindset. She wants to score, yes, but she also wants to lead, to rebound, to defend, to elevate everyone around her. That's LeBron's influence in full effect. But Clark's inspiration doesn't stop with modern icons. She went back in time to study one of the most creative, electrifying players the game has ever seen. A legend whose record she eventually broke. The one and only Pete Maravich, Pistol Pete. The LSU superstar from the late 1960s and early 70s who racked up 3,067 points in just 3 seasons, a record that stood untouched for over 50 years, until March 2024 when Caitlin Clark came along and shattered it. Clark's been compared to Pistol Pete since high school, and she knows exactly what that comparison means. Caitlin Clark didn't just admire Pete Maravich, she studied him. She watched his highlights, broke down his moves, and took notes on his creativity. Some fans even nicknamed her Ponytail Pete, which Clark found hilarious. But that comparison goes way deeper than just points on the scoreboard. It's about the art of basketball itself. Pistol Pete wasn't just a scorer, he was a performer. No-look passes, behind-the-back dribbles, jumpers from impossible angles. He made basketball look like magic. Every play was a show, and that same energy lives on in Caitlin Clark. Her game is bold and unpredictable. One moment she's tossing a behind-the-back dime in transition, the next she's drilling a deep step-back three and firing up the crowd. That's pure Maravich swagger. Even Diana Taurasi, one of the most iconic players in women's basketball, once described Clark as Pete Maravich with a ponytail. And she's right, because it's not just about flash, it's about imagination. Maravich redefined what was possible on the court. He trusted his instincts, took chances others wouldn't, and created plays out of thin air. Clark has that same fearless creativity. She'll make passes most coaches would call reckless, except she actually pulls them off. So when Clark broke Maravich's all-time NCAA scoring record, it wasn't just history, it was destiny. His record of 3,067 points had stood untouched since 1970, more than half a century. Nobody thought it could ever be broken, but on March 3rd, 2024, against Minnesota, Caitlin Clark did the impossible. The crowd exploded. The entire basketball world took notice. Like Maravich, Clark takes pride in being more than a scorer. She rebounds, she passes, she leads. Maravich averaged an absurd 44.2 points per game in college, but he also dished out over 6 assists a night. He was a complete player, just like Clark. Her creativity, her flair, her improvisation on the court, it's all a reflection of Pistol Pete's spirit still alive in today's game. And then there's one more player who shaped how Clark sees offense today, Kevin Durant, one of the most unstoppable scorers in NBA history. Clark doesn't talk about KD as much as some of her other idols, but the influence is obvious. Durant's 6'11" with the skills of a guard, smooth handle, elite jumper, limitless range. You can't guard him one way because he can hurt you from anywhere. Take away his three and he'll hit the mid-range. Double him and he'll find the open man. Clark brings that same versatility to the floor. At 6 feet tall, she has the height and balance to play any style. She can shoot over smaller defenders, finish through contact, or post up in the paint. And if you adjust your defense, she adjusts right back. That adaptability, being able to beat you in multiple ways, that's her Durant influence. From Pistol Pete's creativity to Kevin Durant's scoring mastery, Caitlin Clark has built her game on greatness. And the best part, she's adding her own chapter to the story. What's funny is how everything came full circle. In March 2025, during Women's Empowerment Month, Kevin Durant was asked to name his favorite female athlete. The Phoenix Suns posted a video where players listed legends like Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Maya Moore, and Serena Williams. But Durant, he said Angel Reese. No Caitlin Clark, just Angel Reese. And he didn't even give a reason. Now, that doesn't mean Durant doesn't respect Clark. Far from it. KD's a real student of the game. He's been watching and praising women's basketball for for years. But it's still ironic. Clark studied Durant's every move growing up, modeled parts of her style after him, and then Durant publicly names her biggest rival as his favorite player. Basketball really does have a sense of humor. Still, the influence is undeniable. Clark took pieces of Durant's game and made them her own. She learned how to score from anywhere on the floor, how to use her size as an advantage, and how to stay unpredictable. KD showed her that you can dominate and still make your teammates better. His philosophy became part of her DNA. Be versatile, stay one step ahead, and make sure no defense ever knows what's coming next. Durant's impact might be the quietest one on Clark's list, but it's real. She didn't just imitate his shooting form or his footwork. She embraced his mindset. That's what makes her so hard to guard, because Caitlin Clark didn't just grow up idolizing one player. She absorbed the essence of all of them. LeBron's vision, Maravich's creativity, Durant's efficiency, Moore's leadership, and blended it into something completely her own. You can't scout her by watching one tape. You'd have to study half a dozen all-time greats just to understand her approach. And that's the beauty of influence. It evolves. Clark once said, even if you're not trying to copy someone, you're always influenced by what you watch. And she's watched everything. The pioneers who built women's basketball, the NBA icons who transformed it, even the college stars who briefly captured the spotlight. From all of that, she crafted a style that's now inspiring the next generation. Kids everywhere are mimicking her moves, wearing her jersey, and dreaming like she once did. They're hitting step-back threes in their driveways, imagining the crowd erupting like it does for Caitlin Clark. The same way she looked up to Maya Moore, these kids are looking up to her. That's how legacy works. It passes on generation to generation. Influence turns into inspiration, and inspiration becomes legacy again. A decade from now, when a young WNBA rookie is asked who her favorite player was growing up, she'll probably smile and say, Caitlin Clark. And in that moment, Clark's name will officially join the same list she once studied, because that's what greatness does. It learns, it evolves, and then it inspires the next wave to chase it all over again. She's never been too proud to learn from anyone, whether it's a WNBA icon, an NBA legend, or even a college star whose pro career didn't last. Caitlin Clark took a little piece from each of them, blended it all together, and built a style the basketball world had never witnessed before.